Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Daffy's Southern Exposure, released in 1942. It's the 364th in the series and it's directed by Norm McCabe. You can find this brand new restoration on the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 2 Blu-ray set. I have a link below to that set. It's also in the public domain, so you can watch the cartoon after this review. However, I still encourage you to buy the set as it contains other non-public domain shorts and they all look absolutely stunning on that set. Now just for consistency's sake, because again you can see the short at the end, but all that happens here is that Daffy decides, you know what, I'm not going to fly down south this time round, I'm going to have the lake to myself, and he immediately regrets his idea as he's starving. He finds a cabin where the inhabitants inside decide, hey, I don't want to have any more beans. So we'll definitely go through that. So first up, you'll see a re-edit of the original audio commentary. The full thing is still up, but I'm putting it here for consistency's sake, and then you'll hear a few thoughts, so grab some popcorn and enjoy. And with me today is my fellow northern duck who's stuck in cold weather. He's XC MacPeter. Say hi.
Hello, it really is this cold up here. It snowed all February.
Wow, and I've said it many times, we only get snow at the tippy top of mountains here in Australia when it's in winter. So a few points of trivia. If you look at the title screen, Devin Baxter actually pointed this out to me, that both Don Christensen and Vivi Risto would end up doing comic book work later on, and you're going to find lots of different war-related stuff about this time, buy war bonds, that sort of stuff, because America's now in the war. Keep them flying, yep, and buy war bonds, and you just found out for me that it's also in the colorized version as well, that beautiful Korean redraw. It's like
that we sadly really don't have access to.
No, but and it's got the 7 Arts opening, which hey, yep. 7 Arts, the mark of quality. Yeah, that's right. Now I've been told that in terms of animation, this is like a John Carey tour de force. He just does so many scenes in this one, especially later on.
Yeah, I tried looking at all the scenes to go see what isn't John Carey, and it was very hard to tell what was Izzy Alice, Vivi Risto. Cal Dawn's obviously the easiest spot because he never followed the layouts. John Carey also did the character layouts for the most part for both Clampett and McCabe. So all the animators are following Carey.
One interesting point is this sound effect with the whole wind and all that stuff, and apparently because Pinto Colving actually is back around this time because he did Conrad, your favorite character, Messi.
And he does Ding Dong Daddy as well.
Yeah, he did this like airplane noise or sort of wind noise, and that was just Pinto Colving on a trombone. And I'm listening to his sound effect, and I'm going, is that a trombone? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
easy.
That's absolutely. It really is. Like he was Pinto was a multi-talented guy.
Yeah, he was playing like the Hobo Gadget Band.
Yeah, he wrote songs. He did gags. He did voice acting, and
this cartoon's really interesting. And one thing's Daffy himself. This is the first cartoon where Daffy really has an obnoxious personality to him. And it's a defining trait that really came forward. Even Chuck Jones said that McCabe's Daffy was influential on his.
But I love this, a hand sandwich. I saw this one when I was a kid, obviously the colorized version, and I quite like this one, especially the scene that's going to come up now, which of course references, the previous Warner Brothers quote-unquote star.
This is how audiences in 1936 felt.
Oh wow! I like it. Instead of Campbell beans, it's Shamble beans. I love that. Just ridiculous. Beans, nothing but beans. And when they clearly wanted,
Neatness is its own reward. Just beans everywhere.
Of course, I just love that there was no foresight to pack anything else in this place. Just beans. Just see again. Buy defense bonds today. That's another one there, of course. But wow. Mel Blanc's delivery here is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. Never give a sucker an even break.
Yep, W.C. Fields. That's a W.C. Fields reference. Yep. That's,
there's just these really funny things that McCabe does just casually like this. His writers were really good at just these very funny lines and such. And like this scene here with him chopping the cans is Cal Dalton for certain. I mean, just look at that.
Why would you cut the cans? Why would you cut the cans like that?
Yeah, like there's nothing cooked about them. I also find that funny. So I don't actually eat canned beans, but I assume that you might have to like cook them or something.
I have canned beans, much to the annoyance of my wife, and you got to put in the microwave, but you got to take out the can, of course.
Yeah.
You know, John Carey there. I'm pretty sure that's. There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
The facial expressions.
Yeah, just that it's very loose.
It's amazing how Norm McCabe just within a span. This is like only his third director short, and he's already sort of.
Yeah, and it's his first Daffy, and he nails the character down, even creating a defining trait of him.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. Not the greatest short ever made or anything, but it's just so entertaining. And any wonder as a kid, I always would watch this one constantly because you had other shorts that were public domain, but they were just awful. But this one, even in its colorized state, just was really really entertaining. But we're going to see very shortly a reference to the, I believe, the good neighbor policy, where you see Daffy going all the way down south, and because even Disney would do this thing with Three Caballeros and all that stuff. Exactly.
This dance sequence we're about to come to is animated by Cal Dalton, and Cal Dalton they really assigned him to do like these really human little bits, and I'm not sure why that is. They really thought he was good at acting. They give him these big acting scenes in a lot of cartoons.
Yeah, and of course we got the Carmen Miranda reference right there. So those are my thoughts, and funnily enough, my collaborator at the time, MacPeter, he's just gone on to do so many commentaries and reviews with me since then, so it's always great to have him on these tracks. But before I go into the short, I just realized, I wonder how bad that cabin would smell after being cooped up during a weather storm and having nothing but beans in there. Yeah, the thought just does my head in, really. That's just whack. Especially with two of them. I'm surprised they haven't attacked each other yet over that. But anyway, so as mentioned in the original track, we start to now see the patriotism come through. So we've got the whole keep 'em flying, buy bonds in the very beginning of the short, and we hear the song, we did it before and we can do it again. Now, this short is the first short where Daffy has an issue with going south. So in this one, he doesn't want to go. But then later on, you'll see other shorts that have a similar theme. In fact, at the time of this recording, I was going through the 1952 shorts. So you have Thumb Fun in 1952, where Daffy is going south, but he decides to thumb his way down. And then you have Crack Quack, where he is flying down, but clearly he started too late, and he ends up being caught in a blizzard, and then ends up in Porky's home, where he's doing his taxes. Yeah. So I love how Daffy's reasoning to stay behind is to check out a hot woman, the Snow Queen, that we see in that poster. And I was just having a look into that to see if it referenced anything specific. I could find a few references to snow carnivals where they would have a so-called Snow Queen. Like I was reading a University of Utah article about it, where they would have festivities there since the late 30s. It's probably just references to the northern states that have these harsh snow weather events during the winter, and they'll just have some festivals and you have the Snow Queen and all that. Now, I like how Daffy's immediately taught a lesson where everyone's like, you'll be sorry, and he's like, yeah, I got the whole lake to myself, and we got this beautiful cut. I like the way that they dealt with this in terms of story, where he's playing around, he's having a good time, and then does a real dive to impress us, the viewers, breaking the fourth wall, and then bang, the whole thing is now frozen. And even then, it doesn't put him down at first. It's like, you know what? Ice, snow, go and have some fun. And he goes off and skates. Oh, and by the way, when Daffy's singing Snowfly, Don't Bother Me, it's basically a parody of Shoefly, Don't Bother Me, which is a song that I'm assuming people still sing today. I know sometimes I like to mutter that. But anyway, but then he realizes, yeah, it's winter and there's no real food for me. And we see this on-screen narration, which is a parody of many adventure films where they'll have text that's very similar. And in this case, they just go, where is our hero? So they make fun of that. And during the whole windstorm effects, I just love the effects animation. These are very low budget shorts, these black and white ones, and yet sometimes they can achieve these amazing effects, all things considered. And I do like how Daffy just pokes his head up and is like, "What are you laughing at? I'm really hungry. I would love a loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and a house. It ain't all about the bread." Looking at this particular steak, and then it says on the side, Smith's Arrow. I wonder what that's referring to, because I was looking it up and I couldn't seem to find anything. So was that a particular brand, like a particular meat factory, a butcher? Let me know in the comments if you know what that is relating to. Then later on, when all hope seems to be lost, we see this wonderful smoke come towards Daffy, and he's sniffing it. He's like, "Food?" And the smoke just goes, "Yeah, food." Just ridiculous. I absolutely love that. And yeah, we got the famous beans, beans, beans. Nothing but beans. And I wonder if that was what the theatrical owners in 1936 were saying when Beans was the main character for Warner Brothers, with like, beans, beans, beans. But anyway, that's another thing entirely. But I like how the villain, who's, well, unnamed here, is just some wolf, but he says, "Roast duck, that's it. Oh, what I would give for that foul taste in my mouth once again." Yeah, nice double meaning there. Really good. And I like how, to trick Daffy into fattening him up and all that, they both have to dress up like housewives. Okay. I didn't think that they would have to do that. I'm sure they could have just dressed up normally and just said, "Hey, come in, we'll help you out," and all that. But anyway, makes a short of yeah. And they even have a sign saying, "Never give a sucker an even break." I mean, who has a picture like that in their house? Certainly not me, but anyway. And then we even get another double meaning. There is nothing better than a nice duck for dinner. So the writing on this one is really, really good. Is it up to Mike Maltese standards when he teamed up with Chuck Jones? Maybe not, but it's still pretty good here. And I always like how this wolf character sometimes breaks character. So he's playing this housewife, but then he'll just randomly just drop things and say, "Name your poison, kid." And then he just realizes, whoops, okay, I still gotta be this housewife. And then we hear this beautiful alternate lyric version of Latin Quarter, and it's sung as, "What is your order?" And he's just singing all the different types of food, which is absolutely hilarious. Makes me kind of hungry, actually. I'm recording this before lunch. Maybe I'll order one of those things that is being sung about. And we get the delivery where this wolf is like, "Yeah, we can now drop the act." He goes, "And now it's time for our dessert." And he just loses that voice at the end. Great delivery there. So yeah, we see this whole chase scene, and eventually Daffy goes in this tree and he just pops his head out and he says, "Lingerie," and he says it lingerie in a really weird way. But for those that don't know, back then in larger department stores, there would actually be lift operators, and they would actually announce at every floor what's actually on the floor. So that's what that's referencing to. And in this one, it's funny how just the villain seems to have been gotten rid of very easily. Daffy just adjusts this log and the wolf goes, presumably to his death, I guess. But anyway. And we then see a parody, both in sign form and at the very end, when Daffy's like, "And I do mean South." That is a parody of the broadcaster Jimmy Fiddler, and he would always end with saying, "Good night to you, and I do mean you." So that's the parody of that. And another parody at the end is Carmen Miranda. And according to Keith Scott's wonderful cartoon voices books, that was done by Mina Farragut. I can't seem to find much information about her, aside from her being in 2 films. I'm guessing she was part of the whole Latin craze of music that was just coming into play in the US, so Latin music was starting to become really, really big around this time, and would stay that way until the late 40s. Now, funny thing, I had thought I completed this video. I got the video back from my good friend Blue Genocide. He did a great job as usual. But then my friend Manny Cruz, the Toonie Tenor, he does a lot of the Manny's Music Time on the Merry Melody shorts, explaining about the history of music. And this is one of his favourite shorts. He saw this all the time as a kid, and he said, "Oh, can I please be on it?" And I'm thinking, alright, it's going to cause me extra headache in editing because I've got to fix up the original video, but okay. And so he sent me an audio file, and, well, you can hear from Manny as he discusses the music and a few other bits of interest. So, take it away, Manny.
Hi, everyone. This is Manny Cruz, the Toonie Tenor, coming at you with a special edition of It's Time for Manny's Music Time, with music trivia for you today. bum. For the 1942 Looney Tune, Daffy Southern Exposure, directed by Norm McCabe. Now, I usually tend to stick with the merry melodies for the Manny's Music Time segment, but this cartoon is a personal favorite. It's a childhood favorite of mine. I saw this one a ton on Nickelodeon in the 90s, and it's probably my favorite Norm McCabe cartoon, so I had to jump on this one and talk a little about the music and just some thoughts about the cartoon itself. I mean, I think it's hilarious. Fortunately, it just got restored recently. It was on the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 2, and it's so nice to see it in glorious high definition and black and white. There's just a bunch of little things that make me crack about this cartoon. I mean, just Daffy's acting throughout, how arrogant he is about not flying south for the winter. Kind of reminds me of the Woody Woodpecker cartoon from 1941, Pantry Panic, where the same thing. Woody and Daffy, their arrogance gets the best of them, and then they're stuck without any food during the winter. And just, there's a bunch of one-liners in this cartoon that really crack me up. The wolf and I guess it's a ferret, or I'll just call the ferret Abigail. So the wolf and Abigail, just their antics. Some of the lines that he comes up with, the wolf, for example, and he says, "Pick your poison, kitten." And he goes back into the high-pitched voice. The sign that Abigail flips over so Daffy doesn't notice, "Never give a sucker an even break." Daffy going up the tree, clocks, socks, smocks, and lingerie. As a kid, I always would say, that lingerie word is really funny. And then when I was an adult and I found out what it meant, I was like, ooh, interesting. Just another example of Warner Brothers cartoons being for all ages with a few adult jokes thrown in for good measure. I always get a kick out of Daffy's hand sandwich. I know Anthony will love that part. It's a dad joke extraordinaire right there. And just Daffy's really, really funny and enjoyable in this cartoon. And the wolf and Abigail, too, are great villains. Another dad joke is thought of as, to have that foul taste in my mouth again. Chef's kiss. Mwah. It's a shame that Norm McCabe had such a short career at Warner Brothers before he got caught up in the war effort, and he didn't get his unit back after he came back. For some of the cartoons, yeah, they're awful. They're just nothing but dreadful war propaganda. I'm looking at you, Tokyo Jokyo. But then you have ones like this, Timid Torador, that he co-directed with Bob Clampett, that I have a soft spot for them, mainly because I saw them so often on Nickelodeon growing up. But this is such a fun short. So much fun. So let's talk about the musical cues in it. So there are a few. Obviously, the cartoon starts off with The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down, the Looney Tunes theme song. The Collector's Choice does have the wrong rendition of it. I know there's some really picky nerds out there that will cry to the high heaven about the wrong cue. It's an unfortunate oversight, but it is what it is. So the cartoon, during the opening credits, you hear the song When the Swallows Come Back to Capistrano, which is a composition by Leon Rene, and it was first recorded actually in 1940 by the Ink Spots. So if you're unfamiliar, the Ink Spots are a vocal group made up of black musicians. Great, great music. I mean, I love listening to the Ink Spots. I got to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, and there's a section called the early influences, so the artists and the styles of music that predated rock and roll that led to its creation. And they have a section based, a little display about the Ink Spots the last time I was there. Those vocal harmonies, and I know, sadly, some of the scenes that make fun of the Ink Spots in Warner Brothers cartoons are part of the Censored 11. In particular, I'm thinking of, the Ink Spots as well as the Mills Brothers, but think of scenes where you have black characters singing, boom, 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 things of that nature. I have some songs that are in Warner Brothers cartoons that they've done recordings of, but if you're a fan of Better Call Saul, the very beginning of the first episode has Address Unknown, which is sung by the Ink Spots. So if you want to check that out, I got to finish that series. I love Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul is great. But anyway, Swallows Come Back to Capistrano, and a few other cartoons that have this song. I'm also thinking of Hiawatha's Rabbit Hunt. When Bugs is in the pot being cooked by the Native American, he sings this while he's taking his bath. And there's some other ones.
When the swallows come back to Capistrano, and when the swallows come back to Capistrano, I wanna swallows come back.
So the next one we hear is We Did It Before and We Can Do It Again by Cliff Friend and Charles Tobias. Cliff Friend is one of the co-writers of the Looney Tunes theme song, The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down. He co-wrote it with Dave Franklin. But we did it before and we can do it again. Perfect song for the World War II era short. You hear this in the scene when the ducks are flying in the air and it says, keep them flying, buy a war bond. Again, this was made during World War II. Then later on, you could say probably the main theme of this cartoon is a really neat song that I've always enjoyed, but I finally know the name of it. It's called Hang On to Your Lids, Kids. Here we go again, by Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer. So Arlen wrote the music and Mercer wrote the words. Harold Arlen, as I mentioned before in a previous Manny's Music Time, very well-known songwriter. He's the guy that wrote Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So if you love that song from The Wizard of Oz, you could thank him for it. This song comes from the 1941 film Blues in the Night. I wonder if I've heard that title before. And in the film, the song is sung by Priscilla Lane, and she's inside a freight train cart with a small jazz band. You have like a bass player, a drummer, a clarinet player, and they're singing this song. And you hear it originally when Daffy's gloating about not flying in the South. This flying South business.
North in the summer, south in the winter. North in the summer, south in the winter. They're in a rut. Confidentially, folks, I ain't going south this winter.
And then you hear it later on in the cartoon again when the wolf and Abigail are chasing after Daffy when Daffy sees through their disguise. Very neat song. I heard the recording from the film. I was watching a clip of it on YouTube. It's a really, really cool song. And I always enjoyed it in this cartoon, but now I know the name of it and all that. So if you get a chance, go check it out on YouTube. When Daffy flies up in the air and then he crashes to the ground, when it becomes winter, it's winter right now. I'm recording this in January of 2024, and we had a snowstorm here in New Jersey over the weekend, but kind of feels like that where Daffy flies up and boom, crashes into ice. And when he crashes into ice, and then he sheepishly looks at the camera and goes, ice. You hear a little bit of Jingle Bells from James Pierpont from the 1850s. I mean, we just had Christmas pass, and of course you can't go anywhere without hearing Jingle Bells.
Ice. Snow.
Then Daffy starts ice skating, and he starts singing a little bit of Snowfly, Don't Bother Me. So the original song is Shoefly, Don't Bother Me, which was composed by Thomas Brigham Bishop in 1869. I did not know until today that is a minstrel song. So, yeah, it seems that a lot of these songs that are innocently sang in school as a child and now as an adult and as a musicologist, I realized, it was written as a minstrel song. So, well, that one has kind of a bit of baggage, and you could also say the same thing for Jingle Bells. So, if you're not sure, look into the history. You might find out a thing or two.
Snowfly, don't bother me. Snowfly, don't bother me.
So we spend a huge amount of time, about 2 minutes into the cartoon, with a cue from the silent film composer J.S. Zemeckis. So a lot of cartoons feature Zemeckis' music. I'm thinking of this one, like I said, features The Tempest. I'm thinking of Zemeckis' composition Fate that he used in the case of The Stuttering Pig. There's Treacherous Knave, which is the theme that you hear for the villain in Tex Avery's cartoon The Blowout. Carl Stalling, as you know, worked as a silent film organist before he started doing film composition for Disney and then for Ub Iwerks and then for Warner Brothers. And Stalling, as well as other silent film organists, would reference the compositions of J.S. Zemeckis for specific scenes. Like, this scene is in a scary place, so let me use this type of music. Or this one's in a Western, let me use this. Or this is a romantic thing. And Zemeckis wrote different compositions to fit different silent movies. Another one I could think of is a piece of music called Western Scene, also known as In the Stirrups. That's I'm thinking of Buccaneer Bugs when the horse is jumping over the canyons when Bugs say, no, over there. And that's another Zemeckis composition.
Over here. Over there.
In another Manny's Music Time, I want to devote more time into the life and history of J.S. Semechnik. But yeah, this cue is used for 2 minutes. It's used when Daffy is freezing, looking for food, and his line delivery, "Hey, I'm really starving over here." And then later on, when you see the wolf and Abigail, beans, nothing but beans, and you still hear that cue in the background. Really, really neat piece of music. I originally thought that it was like a composition from a Romantic era composer, like, I don't know, Wagner or Brahms, or not Tchaikovsky. But when I would hear that music, I'm like, is it one of those guys? And then I found out, oh, it's Semechnik. So pretty neat.
Nothing but beans. I'm sick of beans. Beans for breakfast, beans for lunch, beans for dinner. Always it's beans.
And then later on, when the wolf and Abigail get into disguise and Mel Blanc killing it with his head voice falsetto spiel going on, pick your poison, get what would you like to eat? Or this is something that maybe somebody in the comments can help me out with. But ever since I was little, it always cracked me up how Mel Blanc would go, Abigail. And I don't know if it's a reference to something. And almost every time I meet someone, or if I know someone who's named Abigail, I always have to do that. I go, Abigail. And they don't know what I reference. And I tell them, oh, it's from a Daffy Duck cartoon from the 40s. But if somebody knows if there's a specific reference that I'm missing in that part, I mean, yeah, it's funny hearing Mel Blanc clear his voice. Abigail. He actually doesn't use his regular voice. He stays in a falsetto. Abigail. And I just want to know the answer. If someone knows it, please type it in the comments. So as the wolf is being a gracious host to Daffy, he sings with altered lyrics The Latin Quarter by Harry Warren and Al Dubin. If you've listened to the other Manny's Music Times, you've heard me talk about Harry Warren and Al Dubin a lot. Tons of cartoons feature their music. And the Latin Quarter itself is originally from the film Gold Diggers of 1938. In the film, Rudy Valley and Rosemary Lane sing the song. And with the original, it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, the Latin Quarter. But in this cartoon, they change the words, da-da-da-da-da-da, what is your order? And I just love the altered lyrics.
Some soup or consomme, our chowder's good today. A T-bone bordelay, what is your order? You love our new green peas, our shrimp and cheddar cheese, and sherry if you please, a dear border.
Da-da-da-da-da-da, with some French toast and buttered breakfast, whatever. I don't have the words in front of me, but I've always liked the different rendition of the song. I like when the wolf is chopping up the cans of beans in time to the music, and Abigail sizing up Daffy for the pot. It's just like with the hands, it's like, all right, is he big enough for the pot? All right, cool. Enough space. Really cool scene. Always enjoyed it.
To try our bologna, a slice of salami, some vitamins A, B, just place your order. We have a candy yam, a moving picture ham, our short ribs of spring lamb are shorter.
And then, of course, we have the chase scene where Abigail and the wolf are chasing after Daffy. When Daffy sees through the disguise, you hear again, hang on to your lids, kids. But then when Daffy manages to escape the wolf and Abigail, and he starts running south, where you see big signs that says south. And of course, Carl Stalling uses Dixie, which is written by Daniel Decatur Emmett from 1859. Dixie is also a minstrel song, and it has a very complicated history now. A lot of people tend to associate that song with the Confederacy and things of that nature. I don't want to get too much into it in this particular commentary, but yeah, usually in these cartoons, if you think of something related to the South or the Confederacy, the song Dixie comes to mind. I understand why he put it in the cartoon. This is in the 40s compared to the 2020s. And I also found out that the composer, Daniel Decatur, Decatur, I think that's how you say his middle name, Daniel Emmett, is actually one of the pioneers of minstrel shows. So yeah, take that as you will. So when Daffy makes it really south, when he manages to wind up in South America, and he's hiding inside the fruit hat of the Carmen Miranda character. By the way, thanks to Keith Scott in his book of cartoon voices, I looked it up, and according to his book, the Carmen Miranda imitation was voiced by an actress by the name of Mina Farragut, Farragut, Farragut. Let's say Farragut, Mina Farragut. So I looked up her IMDb. She doesn't have a lot of roles. She was not even a bit actor, but hopefully now she gets the credit for doing the really, really cool Carmen Miranda voice in this cartoon. So she sounds really nice when she sings. Doesn't sound like Carmen Miranda, but, sounds pretty.
And the moon is shining bright down in Rio de Janeiro. Boom, 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 boom.
And the song itself, it originally is from a film called It All Came True from 1940. And Ann Sheridan, the actress, sings it in the movie. But I was trying to find the original version of the song, but fortunately, YouTube has so many different versions of the song because this was a really popular song around that time. Multiple artists did. I know there was another film called The Gaucho Serenade, which is the name of the song. And Gene Autry did it in that film, and then there's a version from Glenn Miller and his orchestra. There was multiple versions of the song recorded. It was a pretty popular song in the early 40s, and it's a charming song. So those are my thoughts for Daffy Southern Exposure. Again, I could have gone more into specifics about why I like the short so much, but I don't want to make this commentary super long. I'm a guest in this one, and I asked Anthony to let me come on to here because, again, this is a childhood favorite of mine, and it's still really funny. I still really enjoy this cartoon. Again, you just wish that Norm McCabe had a longer career at Warner Brothers. But I mean, he did have a very long career in animation. I know that going to the 80s and 90s. In the 80s, he worked on the original, and this is where I get excited because I'm a huge fan. But he did work on the original 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. I remember watching the credits one day. I think it was for season 1. Well, the original Ninja Turtles cartoon was originally a 5-episode miniseries, and then it became a full series. The miniseries retroactively became season 1. But I was looking at the credits. I was like, Norm McCabe? I was like, what? The same Norm McCabe that worked on Looney Tunes in the 40s? And I know, like, in the 90s, he worked on Animaniacs. Either Animaniacs or Tiny Toon Adventures. I'm leaning towards Tiny Toon Adventures. So he kept working, and he passed away, I think, around 2006. So he had lived a very, very long life. And yeah, this is definitely one of his best cartoons, and it's always fun to watch again. Fortunately, now in a beautiful restoration. So again, these are my thoughts for Daffy Southern Exposure. Thanks for listening. Please follow me on social media at The Toonie Tenor. THE, and I made sure to spell the correctly this time, TOONEY TENOR, and to catch up on my life as a musician and as a multifaceted geek and big time Looney Tune fan. And I hope you enjoy. And that's all, folks. I was trying to hold that sneeze for the longest time. I was like trying to do my final line, and I just finally sneezed. Abigail! Oh, that foul taste in my mouth. That's how I feel every time I record a commentary. I'm just kidding. All right, folks. Bye.
So yeah, this is a great short. This one's a childhood favorite where I would watch it in the colorized form. So it's nice to see not only seeing it in black and white, but now it's beautifully restored. And as I said, I can't wait to have this in physical media. But in terms of rating, this one gets a nice solid 8.5 out of 10. It's a funny short, one of Norm McCabe's best. And just shows that, yeah, had Norm McCabe not been drafted into the war, what could have been. But anyway, it is what it is, but judge for yourself. I'm going to play the short for you now, but as for the review, that's all done. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.
Going south every winter, north in the summer, south in the winter, north in the summer, south in the winter. They're in a rut. Confidentially, folks, I ain't going south this winter. I'm going to stick around and check up on this winter business. You'll be sorry. I should be sorry. I got the whole lake to myself. get a load of this. This'll kill you. This'll kill you. Ice. Snow. Snowfly, don't bother me. Snowfly, don't bother me. I'm really hungry. Oh, for a loaf of bread. A jug of wine, and thou. Ooh, food! Food! Oh, boy, look at that T-bone steak! Yum, yum. Hand sandwich. Ouch! Is it food? Food! Food! Food!
Beans, beans, beans! Nothing but beans. I'm sick of beans. Beans for breakfast, beans for lunch, beans for dinner. Always it's beans. Boy, what I could do to a nice juicy steak, or a slice of baked ham, or some roast duck. Roast duck, that's it. Oh, for that foul taste in my mouth once again. Hark!
Dear, dear, who have we here?
As if I didn't know.
Abigail! Abigail! Look at this poor creature. Do come in out of the cold. You must be hungry. Why, you're just skin and bones. But we'll fix that. There's nothing we'd like better than a nice duck for dinner. Is there, Abigail?
Name your poison, kid.
What would you like to have to eat? Some soup or consomme, our chowder's good today. A T-bone bordelais, what is your order? You love our new green peas, our shrimp and cheddar cheese, and sherry if you please. A dear border, to try our bologna, a slice of salami, some vitamins A, B, just place your order. We have a candy yam, a moving picture ham, our short ribs of spring lamb, our shorter, of buttered buns we boast, to try our free French toast and orange sherbet roast. Give us your order, and with that tucked away, you'll know that that ain't hay.
That ain't hay, brother.
That's all. Ooh la la la, ooh la la la, ooh la la la, ooh la la la. And now for our dessert.
Uh-oh. Now, fellas, wait a minute. Not that. You don't want to eat me. I'm not a duck anyway. I'm a pigeon. I'm a hummingbird. Listen. Fourth floor, clocks, locks, socks, smocks, and lingerie. Listen, can't we settle this amicably?
when the moon is shining bright down in Rio de Janeiro. Boom, 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 ah, boom, 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 boom.
See, I like the South American way, and I do mean South. That's all, folks.